All right, viewers, it's time to get you the big NDTV exclusive. Our top voice on the show, former Israeli Prime Minister, Mr. Olmert, who joins us to talk more about the ceasefire and the agreement that has been signed between Israel and Hamas in terms of getting 10 of those hostages out. Mr. Olmert, thanks much for speaking to NDTV. Let me start by first asking you that while there's some sort of a pact has been reached, what about the main sticky points on both sides? On Israel, it is the fact that it wants to end and completely eliminate Hamas. And on the Hamas side, of course, it wants that Israel should be completely vacated out of the Gaza Strip. How do you see those sticky points going forward?
Of course, Israel will not end the war unless the necessary arrangements being made to make sure that Hamas will not carry on further any dominant position in Gaza. Of course, the Hamas will not release all the hostages, which is the only asset they still hold, unless it will be guaranteed that the war was finished. So I think that while there are negotiations for partial understandings, there is still a disagreement about the final terms, which is from the Palestinian side, Hamas side, the end of the war completely and eventual withdrawal of Israel from all of Gaza. And from the Israeli point of view, the total elimination of Hamas as a dominant force in Gaza. Mm-hmm. This is still very much, I think, is debated, and I don't see yet signs that there is any progress towards an understanding about these two fundamental opposing issues.
Right. Mr. Olmert, this is one of the biggest international stories happening, a war that has been going on since October 2023. Expectation that this could probably end as far as the moment Donald Trump came into power. That hasn't been the case. But in your assessments, do you think that Donald Trump will now exercise his political capital over Benjamin Netanyahu to get a final deal going?
I hope so. As far as I'm concerned, he should have done it already long ago. I must say something which I hope you are aware of. There is a growing expectation in Israel, I'd say more than expectation, a demand in Israel for the end of the war. The statements made by the Israeli Prime Minister and the Minister of Defense about the building up a humanitarian city in Rafah and bringing 600,000 Palestinians into that region. And the statements made that Israel will expand the military efforts in Khan Yunis and Beit Hanun, in some of these still centers where Hamas still possess some kind of military power, are not accepted in Israel. The majority of Israelis want the war to end today. They want the hostages to end today. So looking at it from the perspective of President Trump, I think he has got the moral support of most of the Israelis to exercise his authority and force the Israeli Prime Minister to abide by his demands. And therefore the question is, what is he up for? What does President Trump want to do? What he thinks, I think that he can do it. Question is whether he thinks that he can do it. Remains to be seen.
All right. Mr. Olmert, then let me ask you this question, something that the Trump administration, the Trump himself has spoken about several times, which is his vision of rebuilding Gaza, Trump style. How do you see that? Some people say it's absolutely unacceptable. There are those who feel that maybe there is hope. How do you view this in terms of how Donald Trump feels that the entire Gaza Strip could become the French Riviera of the Middle East?
I think that the vision for the day after will not allow, and I'm not in favor of deportation of Palestinians from Gaza. Gaza is Palestinian, and Palestinians live in Gaza, and they ought to live in Gaza. Question is, what do we do in order to make sure that Gaza will not be controlled in the future by terrorist organizations. And that's the essence of what the Israeli military effort was focused on, to destroy the military capacity. And now the arrangements which can be sponsored and facilitated by President Trump and the American administration in cooperation with the Palestinian Authority, Jordan and Egypt and the Emirates and Bahrain and the Saudis ought to be how to establish the presence of a security force in Gaza that will prevent the Hamas from becoming again any significant force in that region. That's what we need to do. Ending the war, bringing the hostages, releasing Palestinian prisoners as part of an agreement, and also trying to establish a security force that will prevent that at any time in the future, Gaza will continue to be what it was, which is a basis of terror.
Mr. Ehud Olmert, thank you so much for taking out the time and speaking to NDTV on what is one of the biggest international stories, which is a possible ceasefire, paving the way for some sort of a long-term solution between Israel and Hamas.